Well, it's a great pleasure to have Liran Zvibel here from WEKA, and you're the founder and the CEO of the company. So great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Keith.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And AI Infra would not be the same without you here. So let me first get a level set. You've been in this industry for a long time. You're seeing a lot of change in the AI industry. What are you seeing from customers, though? What are they saying to you, and what kind of challenges are they facing?
So we're seeing two kind of customers, and we've been at it for over a decade, 12 years. For the longest time, AI was this thing that select few cared about. Actually, no one, even 4 years ago, 3 years ago, imagined it could grow to become this huge, huge interest to everyone, and such a huge interest in the enterprise world. So AI used to be this thing that technology makers cared about. Usually these were folks that had a lot of previous experience with HPC, understood large supercomputers, were very comfortable setting a lot of infrastructure, and they could get these things rolling. But what we're seeing over the last 18 months or so, and we think it's going to start accelerating with Gen AI, and everyone's acknowledging how prevalent AI is going to be in business. Like the rest of the enterprise companies, the corporation, the 10,000 companies that actually are running this world started caring about AI, but they're not built like an old-time HPC organization.
Yeah.
They're built around running their own thing, and they need a good packaged product that can take user inquiries, prompts, or problems to solve, leverage AI, and give them the answers. Also, they realize, hey, they're on a race, because the first in their industry to figure out how to leverage AI better is likely to run loops around the other one. So what has changed is that the world is changing from a select few that are highly experts at running these things to the masses that need to make it workable. And now the other thing that makes a difference, if you're not making one of the few big models for your own consumption, and at that point, once you've built that model, it's perfect for you and it's going to worth trillion. If you're building infrastructure just for AI, you have to show that very quickly it has good economical sense.
Yeah. You paint a very colorful picture of a market that's in complete transition, but also very competitive. One of the challenges is scaling. One of the things I'm hearing about is the computer factory. What is a factory and an AI factory, and how would you describe it, and how are you leveraging it?
In our mind, you need to differentiate building the factory, where you're redoing it over and over and over again, and at this point you have a production line that delivers a lot of value, to what we've seen before, which was like the artisan workshop.
Yeah.
So with the AI factory, we basically are seeing this big organization come to us for help, and they want to understand, hey, we know we need to build infrastructure, but this is not only about buying the right GPUs, buying the right network, figuring out that we have enough data to support this whole thing. This is about the complete organization of delivering value. So like in a factory, you have the folks that make sure you have the inventory, you have the different machines, you have the different lines. At the end, you get the product. So an AI factory mentally is where we're helping customers, and all of the current vendors are rushing to help customers basically make AI useful. integrate RAG into their own data, make sure they can pull it in fast, figure out how they can take agentic workloads and work in their environment. So these businesses can start with the raw ingredients and end up with better insights and run their businesses better, because this is all about.
So factory is an engine, or is it a steering wheel?
It's a set of processes connected to infrastructure and also the enterprise's needs. And that's the reason it's a generic name like a factory. And different factories worldwide can build different things.
Yeah.
And you know, you can have a factory, and here in California we have a few that build cars. You can have a factory that's very different, that builds this microphone. If you have kids and they have toys, these toys go through a factory. But factories all need to get inventory in.
Right.
In our case, it's your history, your data, and also what other questions you've asked and answered before, so you can build the right model and agentic workflows. Then you need to make sure you have all of the different production lines.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that they're connected, and you need to make sure at the end you have a result that you can deliver to a customer and they're going to happily consume it.
Right. I want to change direction just a little bit, Liran. WEKA just introduced Token Warehouse, and I thought I'd have you explain to me what Token Warehouse is for our audience.
So that's unlikely going to be the first time our listeners or watchers are gonna hear about tokens.
Right.
But tokens are the things that run AI. So they're like the little knobs in the machine. And with AI, you actually need to get these tokens in to make the machine run. Now, when we're looking at any AI workflow, I think what many of the folks don't understand is in the current workflows, the same token, if you're using your off-the-shelf tools, get recomputed, recalculated over and over and over again. Let's look about a simple case. If you're doing just multi-turn inferencing, if you've done anything with a ChatGPT or any other chat into AI, you give it a prompt, you get a response that's unlikely to be your perfect response, right? You're not stopping
Right.
unless it's perfect.
Right.
So you're giving another prompt. Now, you get another response, you give it another prompt. Each time you give it one further prompt, you have to go and recalculate the previous answer and the previous answer and the previous answer. If you don't already store these responses, you're actually wasting a lot of the compute time, because you're recalculating the same data, the same tokens over and over and over again. We have developed what we're calling the token warehouse, which is a technology that identifies tokens that have already been calculated, and instead of sending them to a GPU to be calculated, which is really expensive, because A, you need the GPU to be allocated, and GPUs are expensive. Everyone knows that. Also, they take tons of power to run. If we're looking at this multi-turn inferencing, majority of the tokens that actually go through this AI pipeline can be cached and can be brought from what we're calling the token warehouse. So with WEKA Token Warehouse, we're making sure each token that was already delivered, was already manufactured, you don't need to manufacture it again.
Right.
So we're driving the time to response dramatically. We're showing that we're 40 times faster than recalculating them in GPU. But also it means that at large scale, you can buy a lot less GPUs, and you're going to use a lot less power to run it. So with the token warehouse, we've also coined a term called tokenomics, because we think for the large enterprises to really care about delivering these results, delivering well-oiled machines in their AI factories, they must start looking at the tokenomics to make sure it all is delivered as efficiently as they can.
I like that, tokenomics. Speaking of the economics about the business, how are you faring against the competition? That sounds like a very strong competitive position and value proposition. How is that faring for you, for WEKA?
So we're the leader in what we're calling, we also introduced our augmented memory grid. Basically, we're taking WEKA system and we're connecting it to the GPU infrastructure in a way that effectively is as fast or sometimes faster than memory. It sounds ridiculous, but we can actually do it. Once we've been able to integrate into the compute infrastructure as WEKA and extend the memory, and once we actually also connected the token warehouse there, we're showing that effectively we're driving the end results of a complete AI factory significantly higher. When we're looking at our competitors, A, they cannot deliver memory-like performance, and B, they don't have the parts that actually integrate and interact with the rest of the infrastructure. A huge differentiator that WEKA has in that regard is our ability, which is unique to WEKA, to control latency. When you're able to control latency, you can effectively replace memory. Because the one thing that's obvious about memory, each time you ask a question, you get the answer at the same amount of time that you're waiting. Any other storage system, when you're introducing more load, you're gonna start getting inconsistent latencies. At that point, that product is not a good replacement for extending memory. And this is our main differentiation point. And that's the reason we can actually come in and show customers, in essence, we make their memory infinite, but you'd say, hey, now we're replacing memory, but with the token warehouse, not only we're making the memory infinite, we're making the ability to have so much memory effectively addressable by all of the GPU, allow us to save the majority of GPU cycles.
So let me just close out by asking you, you are obviously a leader in the market in this segment, and you meet with a lot of leaders, C-suite executives in AI organizations, and everybody's trying to catch up and get ahead and all those things. What is the one thing you want them to know? What is they can't overlook right now in the market?
I think the most important thing when you build AI is to make sure you're future-proof, and what you're doing is going to still be relevant in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. You know, NVIDIA with Jensen, they're coming up with new technology that deliver about 10x better every 2 years. If you're not leveraging parts of your infrastructure that you know that are gonna still be there and are still gonna carry you in 18 months, you're having a big risk that you will have to go and redo many things. Many of the current playbooks don't even take into account the fact that you can effectively extend memory, that you could have systems that control latency, that you could leverage that memory extension to drive the amount of GPU cycles you need dramatically down to deliver the same amount of tokens. So when you're looking at these projects, you have to start thinking like some of the big LLM vendors are, and you have to use the tools that the big LLM vendors are using. So if you're only looking at what your IT or the AI business unit is telling you is going to make sense in the next 6 to 12 months, you're likely going to get to the point that in 2 years, you will have to do a complete reshuffle.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're future-proof. And you know, I look for WEKA on AI tools for software engineering. We have tons of software engineers. And every 3 days, you get new models, new techniques, new tools, and the things that we thought were the pinnacle, the pinnacle of innovation a month ago.
Yeah.
In the next month's discussion, they look like toys.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And it's a challenge and it's an uptime. But when you're picking your path to AI, you have to be future-proof and you have to use the tools that you know are likely to be the best positioned also in a year and in 2 years. These are the most important things.
That's a great way to close. Thanks so much for stopping by and sharing your insights with us. It's been really helpful, really exciting. And I hope you have a great time here at Ignite Infra AI.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. You've been a great host and I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, Liran. Good luck.
Thanks.